Joining On the Sofa with Esther this Sunday is Ashton Jones and Wayne Ellington, who both performed at the Royal Albert Hall on the 19th of October in the Sound of Philadelphia, a one-night only tribute concert to Philadelphia International Records. Okay. Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are across the globe. Welcome to On the Sofa with yours truly, Esther Austin. But I have the utmost privilege. I'm quite excited actually to be talking to Ashton Jones. And I'm going to do a proper intro because this young man's done so much in such a short space of time. And here's Wayne. He's done so much in such a short space of time that I thought, where do I start? And also joining us on the platform is Wayne Ellington. Wayne Ellington. Hello, Wayne.
Hi.
Hi.
What's up, Ash?
Yes, Wayne. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm actually sat on the sofa.
There you go. Perfect.
It's supposed to be on a Sunday afternoon evening, right?
Yeah. It's called On the Sofa, and so I thought, let me just find myself on the sofa, right?
I had the privilege to watch these two gentlemen perform last week at the Royal Albert Hall, and I thought I was flying on wings by the time I left because they were celebrating and honoring the sound of Philadelphia, 50 years of Philly soul. And amongst those who performed were Beverley Knight, Monroe, Omar. Remind me of the other gentleman's name as well. I can't remember that was with the back in
Andrew Roachford.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was for me personally, it was such a phenomenal event as a whole. And I thought I need to speak to somebody. I don't care if it's just half of you guys. I need to get someone on the show today. So welcome in Ashton Jones and Wayne Ellington. So before I go any further, and I'm going to introduce you guys more fully, I like to ask this: who is Ashton, and then who is Wayne, in a nutshell, in a peanut shell, or a crab shell? and so that's for Ashton, and then Wayne's going to be the coconut shell. So you're the coconut shell.
Okay. Shall I go? Shall I start off? All right.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you in a pistachio shell. Yeah. How about that? Seeing as one of the suits I wore on Saturday was green. Yeah. Go for that. And you too, Wayne. You can go pistachio shells.
I'll take the coke. In fact, I might take the cashew.
Take the cashew. Yeah. To be fair, as long as they're honey roasted.
Not cashew.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Monkey nuts.
The monkey nuts. All right.
In fact, maybe not.
Nuts on the.
Let's keep it the coconut. Or maybe not the coconut either.
Oh, brilliant.
Esther, why do you have to bring up the shell, man?
Let's answer the question.
Go ahead,
all right, okay. So, who is Ashton Jones in a pistachio shell? Ashton Jones is some random guy who started off in Ipswich, born and bred Suffolk on the east coast of England, and he was singing from an early age. I'd always sung from school and high school, and then into sixth form and things like that, college. And my dad is a musician, and he plays trombone, and he's also a singer. So I started out going out with him to begin with, doing pubs and clubs as a duo, just doing a couple of songs. Very, very nervous. And then from then I progressed to doing pubs myself and clubs and holiday camps, that sort of thing. And the feedback was great. So then I put a band together, and then we released an album, and kind of it grew and grew and grew. And then somehow I found myself on the stage of the Royal Albert Hall last Saturday, making my Albert Hall debut, doing material that for me is part of kind of three pots of legendary songwriting of all time. So when they said to me, you're going to be doing Philadelphia Soul, I was extremely, extremely happy, because growing up, it was reggae, soul, funk. So those were the things that were influencing me coming up, and what I like to sing all of my gigs from the start up until now. So yeah, I was very happy to be given the opportunity to be singing something that's so close to my heart. Yeah, and that's my pistachio nut.
Brilliant. just want to just emphasize in terms of promoting you, introducing you. So, you're a recording artist, producer, as you said, hailing from Suffolk. And it was
Mm.
interesting how you were described by the Cheltenham Jazz Festival as a rising star of soul and funk music. And
Mm.
then also another accolade was proudly carrying the spirit of James Brown and Tower of Power by Soul Track. So I'm going to circumnavigate back to you in a moment. Now, Mr. Coconut, I've got to be careful how I phrase that.
You
Mr.
have to
Monkey,
be
Mr.
careful
Monkey
how you
Nut,
phrase that, It just don't sound right.
Let me put it in
It
context.
just don't sound right. So who
Yes.
is Wayne Ellington? He is a man who was born and raised in London, of Jamaican parents, discovered by his sister, his older sister, who started up our family group, our family singing group called the Delightfuls. I'm the youngest in my family, and so grew up listening to gospel music. Gospel was mostly played in our household, and then it was reggae, and then it was anything that was on the radio, and then it was listening to soul and classical things that I decided that I wanted to hear more of. I was intrigued by classical music, and I was further intrigued by jazz, and things kind of lifted off for me after going to university, where I studied music as well. Voice was my principal study, and delving into every single genre that they were going. I thought this is the life to live, the life of music. And so but before going to university, I was exposed to a lot of Motown, a lot of Philadelphia soul music, and especially Billy Paul. I went out and bought his album, and I just sat and immersed myself. And what's his name? They will come back to me in a minute. But lots of that style of music, I immersed myself in, but not as much as I did gospel. So when I was approached to do this, I thought, okay, this is great, it's exciting, and there was a bit of a nervousness about it, but I didn't know what it was, and it wasn't about performing the pieces. Well, it was something to do with the songs, and it was something to do with the genre. But because being brought up in gospel music and knowing that inside out, mostly, and mostly jazz as well, I thought, well, this genre is something different for me to actually be on stage singing this stuff. And it dawned on me that when I met Ash, and I just saw Ashton's excitement and love for the music, I thought to myself, right, it kind of helped me to understand my place in it all. Not that it didn't belong to me, and not that I couldn't do it, but it made me understand where I actually came from, and helped me to really love what where I was from and what I was brought up with, but also to celebrate the genre. It wasn't until I got to the Albert Hall that I just sat in the room on my own for a little bit, and I thought to myself, let me just do a quick analysis on what this nervousness is all about. And it wasn't about performing, and it wasn't about being at the Albert Hall, and it wasn't about singing with other artists. It was the genre. It was the style of music. It was everything about the music that embodied everyone's stories and everyone's upbringing, that people would come to an event like this at the Albert Hall, where it was as if that was the Grammy for this, for the Philadelphia, that was the Grammys for it, and that was the nervousness about it for me, because I thought, I feel like I've won the Grammys, and I had to give a speech, and the speech was presenting the songs in such a way that it was memorable for people.
Wow.
And so, whilst I understood what the nervousness was about, then I began to relax into the rest of the day. and thought, I'm good and ready for this.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I just want to say that you're a composer, conductor, because sometimes I dive into the interview and people say you need to really introduce, your guest properly. So I want to say that you're a singer, you're a vocal coach, you're a conductor, you're a composer. There's so many other things, and we'll unpeel that. I know Ashton's got quite a limited time, so when you're ready to go, let me know. So I'm going to really sort of start to unpeel you a little more, and then I'll come back to
Sure.
you. But for me, just being in the audience, I had the privilege of interviewing Khalif Gamble the day before. And that was really incredible hearing all those historical and nostalgic moments, for him being the son of Kenny Gamble. And then just sitting in the Royal Albert Hall amongst that energy. And you guys kept on coming on stage as you do. And you were just tripping people into this place of nostalgia, but there was a full appreciation, not just for the genre and not just because they were celebrated, but also you guys brought this energy to it. And at one point, I had to get a bit get. I was like, rah, because and it's rah after rah after rah because it was this whole sort of kaleidoscope of energy. I think you guys would understand. There's this energy that was lifting, and I saw couples hugging and kissing, and people were tapping each other and saying, "Do you remember that?" And some guys were behind me. They're like, "Man, this is magic." So you all helped to transport everyone back into an era that was so powerful. So Ashton,
Yeah.
2019, in terms of your career, 2019 was quite pivotal for you because that's when, and you said it's been quite a hard and difficult journey, but that's also when you started to get yourself out there and get seen, and you had to really you got quite innovative. Let me put my teeth in. Hold on.
It's all them nuts.
It's all them nuts, isn't it?
My twins fell out last week. My children are nuts. I'm saying, but so having all those challenges, who did you become because of that? And then adding to your passion and your vibrancy for music, who does it make Ashton Jones?
So I think prior to 2019, when I'm singing in pubs as a solo artist with a laptop and a microphone and my dad's speakers and not very many people, it's really difficult to think, how can I progress this to the next level? What is the path? Because I didn't go to music college. I didn't have any contacts in the industry. I wasn't born in London. I was born in Ipswich, and there's not really that much that goes on in Ipswich apart from a local music scene. It's just pubs. So it's like you're sitting there thinking, how do I get opportunities to do other things? So I started to hustle in the sense of I used to send out so many emails to different promoters and venues asking if I could do support slots and free festival places and that kind of stuff. And some came back, and I used to send, I managed to get a support slot for Shalimar when they came to the UK and did a Cambridge gig. And that was because I was emailing the promoter, Adrian Gibson. I emailed him about 10 times, sent him about 10 messages on Facebook, and he never replied to any of them. So I thought, okay, how can I get his attention? So I actually sent a box of donuts couriered to his offices in London.
Oh, no. Okay.
And he replied saying, "Oh, thanks so much for the donuts. You didn't have to do that." I did have to do that because that's the only reason that you replied to my message. And that's how I got that support slot. And really my kind of journey from playing in pubs to now has been a lot of that. Trying to think out of the box, trying to hustle. You come to the realization that I think when you start off, you think that people may give you an opportunity because, maybe they'll take a chance on you or they'll this and that. You come to the realization quite quickly that nobody really cares because, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, the industry is very money orientated, and does anybody know who you are? Are you going to sell tickets? And if you don't have both of those, or at least one of those, then it's very difficult to get opportunity. But I just kind of had to keep grinding and keep finding angles and a bit of luck in there as well. I was playing a festival of 250 people in Suffolk with my band, and there just so happened to be a producer who was going to be doing an advert for Amazon in the audience. He was down visiting his girlfriend in Suffolk that weekend, and he was at the show, and he came to me afterwards and he said, "Hey, we're putting together an advert for Amazon. Would you be interested in coming to audition for it?" And that was amazing, because it was the first time anyone from London had really sort of come down and seen me and heard me and offered to and asked me to come do some things. So I did that, and we got the advert, and then other adverts came, and you just get introduced to different people, producers, musicians, songwriters, that kind of thing. And then it branches out, and we did Cheltenham Jazz Festival a bunch of times. Started off on the free stage. They paid us £200, and I hired a van out of my own money and drove all 8 of my band down to play the free stage twice. And then you're hustling to get other gigs. So then we supported Incognito at Cheltenham Jazz Festival. And it just so happened on that gig, there was a guy called Richard Adlam in the audience, who's a producer. And he messaged me on Instagram afterwards and said, just heard you at the Cheltenham Jazz Festival. We do a thing in London where we recreate samples for other artists. Would you come do some work for that? Great. Been working with them for 2 years. And it just so happens that he knows one of the producers that's working on the Philadelphia show. And the guy went to him and said, do you know anyone that could do some Teddy Pendergrass on Philly Soul? And he said, yeah, we work with a guy called Ashton. And so from that very small initial free stage Cheltenham opportunity to then, it's only a few steps, but I had to kind of do those bits to get the opportunities in the end. And 2019 was the moment where I wrote an album and put the band together, and then it kind of snowballed from there, the opportunities I got, because with original music, it brings authenticity, I think, and people see you in a different light. So doors got open for me that way. And yeah, I just kind of just kept trucking on, Esther. And you do small festival stages, you do big festival stages, then you do venues, you do bigger venues, did the Palladium a couple of times, and then you just arrive at the Albert Hall. And yeah, that's just kind of how it happened.
Brilliant, brilliant. How long do you have left realistically as well, Ashton, so that I can?
I could do another five minutes. Okay.
Okay. Well, Wayne, I'm just gonna keep rolling with Ashton.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, you just focus on your nonsense and
we'll make a cup of tea.
Focus on your nuts, Wayne.
You know what I mean? I won't do that, Ashton. Keep it clean.
Sorry. But, as you've trucked along, when you get on stage, because you have this energy about you, I mean, you were sort of zooming across the stage, and especially when the music took you, you've got a way of sort of lifting. I can't remember which leg, but you've got like in a crook. It's because it's almost as if you're about to levitate. It's sometimes like that. So if you just share what it was like for you, Ashton, literally now that you're on the stage at the London, the Royal Albert Hall, what was it like? Also, I know you and Wayne sort of duetted quite a lot as well. So just what did that feel like?
It felt like everything that I'd always imagined it to feel like in my mind's eye for the 10 years previous to that. While I'm in the shower, while I'm in the car, dancing to James Brown, singing to James Brown, practicing for gigs at pubs, you're singing James Brown songs, but it's to 10 people. It felt like every gig up to that point had been practiced for that moment, on that stage, for that occasion, with that audience and that material. So it was very special to me because, when I was 17 and first started to drive, I picked a few CDs out of my dad's CD rack, and one of them was James Brown live at Chastain Park. And I got hooked on it, and I must have listened to it 1,000 times. I could sing you all of the Maceo Parker solos, all of the bass solos. I could sing every single part of that whole live show. And so James Brown has been a really big influence on me, and the way I present myself on stage, the way I move, the way I try and connect to the music and the musicians. So it was just a culmination, really, of all of those influences and all of those gigs and all of that inspiration. Because when you're playing the Albert Hall, I've always dreamed of playing the Albert Hall. That's a bucket list dream venue for me. So I've thought about it many, many times. And people said, were you nervous? Not at all. I wasn't, not in the slightest. I just felt just confident in that moment, singing material that is close to my heart, that I already knew intrinsically anyway. And I just thought, yeah, you're here now. It's not a mistake. It's not an accident. Go and deliver what you've been, working up to your whole career. Just go and do your thing.
And as part of your, where you've got to now, what are some of the attributes you personally learned or taken from that journey? You know, who has it made Ashton Jones into as an individual?
Yeah. I touched on it briefly earlier. I think you start off quite green and maybe a bit naive to the industry and the harshness of the industry. You know, I don't know whether Wayne ever did it, but most musicians, most singers go through the whole X Factor phase when they're 17, 18, you know, trying to make it as a pop star, that kind of thing. And you get turned away by some media producer that's just graduated a year ago or whatever, and they say, no, thanks. And you come away feeling a little bit broken. And you kind of have to understand that that's television and that is entertainment for television. And that's not what music is about. You come away from that, you get back stuck into the music, and you kind of, it hardens you up, but in a good way, because you then understand where you need to focus your attention. And it isn't on talent shows, and it isn't on trying to be a pop star. You'll focus on your attention on your craft. You focus your attention on your musicality, and you focus your attention on, okay, where is the next opportunity? How do I get it? What are the paths that are going to get me to the next step after that step? And so that's what I did. You know, it's taught me to be determined, to work hard, to be dogged, because I think you have to be to get opportunities, and make as many friends as you can along the way, because there is always synergy with people all the time. The opportunity is there, people are there, and there are so many things that you might not think might, you know, won't come in useful or helpful, or there's a connection, but it does. So you just have to foster those relationships and really embrace people that you work with, which is why it was such a pleasure to work with Wayne, because Wayne was so encouraging. And it's funny hearing him say that he felt a certain way about the material and songs. He felt nervousness, because looking at Wayne and speaking to Wayne, he was so calm and collected throughout the rehearsals and throughout everything, you know, just a complete, you know, grounded guy. It's great to work with people like that, because those are the people that share your passion and are there in your orbit on your journey as well, you know.
Brilliant. And I mean, I'm going to sort of bring Wayne in here a bit now. You've got 2 minutes, Ashton. I'm really going to hold to that now. But Wayne, what was it like for you to perform with Ashton? It'd be nice for you to just share that whilst he's still here.
Sorry, say that again, Esther.
Sorry. So what was it like for you to perform with Ashton? I think you
yeah
briefly before, but you know,
sure.
Expand a bit more on that.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. I think from before we even got to the stage, we had a really great connection instantly. We hadn't known each other from the get-go, and so we met each other on the phone, and then we had like a FaceTime chat. But the conversations and the communication between us was just electric, and we got on, and we were both excited about doing the event, and there were lots of changes and things going on, but we communicated well about that. By the time we got to the Albert Hall, there was a moment on stage. I can't remember what song it was. I think it might have been the second song or something like that. There was a moment on stage where this was captured. We both were walking towards each other, but we kind of like ended up leaning on the on Chris's music stand, Chris the conductor, and we were, before the music started, we were just there, just clicking, you know. But it just happened, and I think when you have that type of synergy going on stage, there's the understanding that, you know, there's an understanding, there's a respect, there's a responsibility, there's a duty of care and understanding of both artists, yourself, and who you're working with. So the connection was absolutely brilliant. Great working with Ashton. Absolutely, yes, brilliant.
And that energy, you know, came up as well especially when you both duetted and you leaned into each other. There was this real synergy of leaning in, and it's almost like we're brothers. We're enjoying this, and it felt at one moment it's almost like we're giving everything and we love it.
Yeah. The stage crafting on that was completely natural, because you've got two people on stage, including the background vocalists, and including the orchestra, but we're two people who we're headlining in that song, in that moment. and then you have to ensure everyone in the rafters at the top, on on the sides of you, in front of you, in the rafters, they're all included. So when you've got the both of us that are pointing our directions in all of those different areas, and then are aware we're both on stage, we still need to connect. All of that happened quite naturally. And that is experience of performing and understanding your audience and understanding who is on stage and just being aware.
Brilliant, brilliant. And winding down for you, Ashton, because your time is gone. I got to do a part 2 of this. You got to come back for Christmas. But anyway, winding down, if there's any piece of advice you'd give to someone, I mean, you've shared quite a bit. If there's one piece of advice that you'd give to someone who is sitting on the fence with their dreams, what would that be, Ashton?
It would be to pursue your dreams as far as you can. And I think, when it comes to talent and performing, you just have to go through the steps. I think you have to start at the bottom and you have to work your way up. And I think you will make it if you are supposed to make it, if that makes sense. You will get to wherever you get to, because you start off in pubs, you then go to clubs, you then do festivals. If that's what you want to do, you just got to crack on and do it. Keep doing it. Have a thick skin and follow your dreams as far as you can follow them. That would be my advice.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, ladies, I want to say a huge thank you to Ashton Jones. Thank you for your time, and definitely we've got to do a part 2.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. I'd love to.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. Now you're going to go and whatever you're doing, but wishing you a wonderful week.
No, I did not. Not really. I'm joking.
You know what it is? It's actually my dad. It's my dad's birthday, so I forgot.
Oh, bless you!
I forgot his dad's birthday. So we went out for a meal, but I just pulled away from that for this, obviously, which I'm glad to do. Because it's beautiful to talk about it. So I'm gonna go and hang with the family.
Yeah. Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much, Esther.
Right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Ashton Jones, recording producer. Do check him out. Now, Wayne, I've got you all to myself for the next sort of 15-20 minutes or so. And just to reiterate, Wayne is, I mean, he's so many things, but predominantly singer, conductor, composer, your teacher, your vocal coach, and you've had such an expansive and incredible career. You've worked with so many incredible people. You are the founder of the community chair you're the founder of Manchester Inspirational Voices, a choir in Manchester. And I saw you a little bit on The Voice in 2018. And there's so much more to you. So if I had to say, what is it that drives Wayne Ellington? Because I know you have a love of music, and it's quite deep, it's quite profound, it's quite powerful. It's what I'm sensing is you're a bit like an oak tree, and you've got your roots in different places, but it's all about music, it's all about creativity and expansiveness. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I guess it's people also. There is a love for people, and I love to see people excel. And I have quite a lot of great influences growing up, and as I was growing up, my siblings. First of all, I mean, like I said before, I'm the youngest in my family, so watching and listening to all my siblings, to see how they all went into their own businesses and went into their own lifestyles of family and their own careers. I thought, oh man, this is what I need to figure out what it is that I'm going to do. But we're all carers. We all care for somebody. My sister Lorna, she cares for like the elderly. My sister Joy, she's for like teenagers and the youth and the elderly as well. My brother Clive is also a carer for lots of the young boys. Young teenage guys, and my other brother Lloyd, he's also for the elderly, for the mental health people, and so I'm from a family of who looks after people. So my journey, my life's journey, is about caring for people in different ways, but also through music. The things that I've experienced, and you know, whilst living down here in London, I thought when I moved to Manchester, I thought I'd love to be able to share my experiences with people here. However, that came about. I didn't expect the choir that I run to be as magnificent as it is now, you know. But I just wanted to just start somewhere. Excuse me. And it just taught me how to build and how to feel secure in myself, and how to feel or how to build, how to feel secure, and how to serve. And the serving is what I enjoy mostly, even though I'm having to lead as well. You know, they say a good leader is also has to know and learn how to serve also. But yeah, that's just me in a nutshell where it comes to what drives me. I love singing. I adore my sound. Myself and my voice, we have a beautiful relationship. So I have to take care of it. To which I encourage people I teach to take care of their voices, to fall in love with their voice. You often hear people say, "Oh, I can't sing," or "I don't like my voice." And I'm like, well, what if your voice told you that? What if your voice told you, and I don't like you either? You know? You have to somehow try and find and build a good relationship with your sound, because it is your frequency, it is your energy. There's so much to say about that, Esther.
There is, and it's funny as I'm looking at it, I can see your aura is like pinging. You know, you've got this ring around you. Bing! It's not my ring light. I mean,
We're ready, break.
You speak so much about serving, and when you can own a really powerful place, when you can own that and still have this humility about you in terms of putting people at the center, then that's a really huge way of honoring your gift. And in whatever way, whether you are performing yourself or whether you are coaching, that's really sort of really deep and powerful, because like I said, watching yourself perform you know, as this, you know, in your solo, right, and also duetting with Ashton and the others, you know, they were all incredibly powerful dynamics together. And for me, it was those moments when, you know, you got the build up of, you got the intro to the music, and then you opened your mouth, and I was like, oh. And you can see in the auditorium, everybody felt that. So you can imagine you being that powerhouse to that you teach, and how that resounds around you, and you're saying, okay, I may be leading this, also I'm walking by your side as well, and so quite a powerful synergy.
Yes,
I sound a bit like a philosopher. I go there sometimes.
No, it's good. Yeah.
And so, sorry, apologies. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I forgot what I said, so you go ahead. Just there. It was just on the tip of my tongue that it went. So you go ahead.
Sorry. Just going back off what you were just speaking about in terms of how, you know, what you experienced on stage, what people experience when I'm on stage, when I'm singing, when, you know, performing, I will never understand. I'll never get it, you know. However, to know it is important for any performer, for any one of us that were on stage, and that was seen and heard. It is important for us to know that our audience was moved by the performances, and by the music. And of course, everyone is telling a story. The performers are telling a story, the audience is telling a story, or is writing a book before they see or hear anything, you know? And those stories are I wonder what this is going to be like. I wonder if this is going to be powerful. I wonder what they're wearing. I wonder what the whole atmosphere is going to be like. So everyone's just begun to write something backstage. All different, different thoughts might be going through the performance mind. Some might have brain fog before we come out. Not that I don't think anybody did have. However, but just speaking generally for any performances, where performers can tend to have a big story in their mind before they go out on stage, and that story could be a positive one or a negative one. But it's reciprocal. But it's down to the performer to understand and to be aware of their presence when they walk out on stage, that they are that there is an expectation for them to deliver and to share and to serve their audience, and their audience is looking to be entertained and also to be involved in some way, to be engaging. And so for us to go out on stage and say, clap your hands, stomp your feet, it's just giving them permission, because some folks might not feel that they have permission to, or might feel a bit shy to, but they will listen to the person with the microphone in their hands to say, yeah, come on, join in, stand up. It was one of those inclusive nights where you just did not want to come and sit back in the seat and not tap your feet. And I doubt there was anybody in that auditorium that did that.
Because you had Sir Lenny Henry, who was a great, he was just this great, he was
hilarious,
great orator, and also with his, adding humor in the mix,
yes.
That was one way that he engaged the audience. And then the BBC orchestra in the background, and with the conductor, with Chris conducting, and the backing singers. So it was this whole melting pot of,
yes.
It was a synergy,
yes.
of synergistic. It may not be a word before, but it's a word now, right? That, and then just the ambience of being in the Royal Albert Hall itself, so there's this wonderful melting pot. And for you also, in your own right, as a solo artist, as a conductor, as a composer, in your own right, what is it about this whole creative process that is Wayne Ellington that what is it to you?
Yeah. To me, it's about being unique. It's about not feeling that you have to be a replica of what's already out there. It's about continuously creating something new, even if it's even on the spot, in the moment. And it could be a vocal technique that might have come into my mind, and I thought, well, I'm approaching a top register, let's approach it in this way, and those things can happen on the spot, in the moment, as a performer. And it's allowing yourself, or allowing myself, to feel free to be able to do that, understanding that the general public, what the event is about, Philly soul, and it's not a gospel event, so therefore you can't come with your riffs and your runs and so on, because the audience may not understand that, but also riffs and runs do come from a particular place, and there is meaning in it. But there was no need for me to use it in the way that, a gospel singer would do. So it's understanding the music, understanding the stories that people get from the music, and from the singing that they remember. Me being an individual, I have to be very much aware of how I deliver that. So my delivery is very much based on what people need, but also staying true to how I would normally sing a song, or how I would feel to be creative within a song. I did ask Chris, the conductor, how free am I with singing the songs, and his response was just, try and stay as close as possible to the melodies, because we're trying to continue to build a memory for people, which was a really good advice for me. Otherwise, I would have been like, "Ah, yeah," you know, even though I did bring some of that out, but it wasn't inappropriate, you know, it was appropriate singing. So therefore, and that felt great to be unique, but with the disciplines of staying true to the genre and staying connected with the ideas of what people needed, that nostalgia.
Mm-hmm. And you know, once everything, as I say, once the curtains came down last week, what were you feeling, Wayne?
At the end of the show,
At the end of the show.
um, well, one thing, as the show came to an end, with what's it, Ain't No Mountain? No, not Ain't No Mountain. It was
Now,
sorry.
um, ain't no stopping us now, isn't
Ain't No
it?
Stopping Us Now, yeah. And so Lenny Henry went into his improvised part, and I thought to myself, okay, this felt like any concert that you just did not want to leave the stage because the vibe was just like so great. Um, but I began to decompress before we went on stage for the last song, just so that I could get there quicker. So having done music psychology and you having to do all of this thing about thinking and being aware and reframing how you envisage the end of the show and the beginning of something, or beginning of the next thing that you got to do, I decided that I was just going to be open to everything. So at the end of the show, I was very open to what was happening. You know, there was lots of conversations and lots of the levels were just high. Everyone was on a high, and so I began to just float around without having to question anything, and without having to hold on to anything, but just allowing things to just be present and be present in those moments and be open to conversations, which was quite enlightening. And for yourself, we didn't get to have a chat that night because, you know, there was lots of people wanting to share and so on. So it was great. It was a nice come down. Quite easy actually. I'm quite an introvert, but can be an ambivert at some points. So normally I would be, you know, having a chat with folks, and then after I'll be gone. I'll be in bed before lockup. You know?
With your Horlicks. You remember you used to have Horlicks and digestive biscuits?
Alex!
Or Milo.
Milo. I think Milo was our thing actually. We would even Milo. But we just used to have the irregular Cadbury's hot chocolate.
A whole heap of sugar in it. Yes.
Holy for sugar with a packet of rich tea.
Right. Or, you know, whichever one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, this has been it's been such a pleasure speaking to yourself and Ashton. You know, there's so much richness
Yeah.
In the conversation, and I'd love to expand and explore
Yeah.
on yourself and all the other aspects that you do around music and
Yeah.
creativity at a later stage. But in winding down, Wayne, and I'll ask a similar question that I asked to Ashton, is that what, and I mean, I could say one piece of advice, or I should just say, what piece of advice would you give to someone who's got this dream and they're sitting on the fence? Because, you know, the road to success, whatever success means to each person, it's not easy, you know, to get to, especially if there's a dream that you're going after. And sometimes people have an expectation that you can get from there to there, but the steps of challenges are what builds character,
Yeah.
what builds experience, what builds wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So what would your piece of advice be?
My advice would be to continue learning to learn how to build your own empire, build your own dream, allow your own dream to, excuse me, to take place. and that can look like networking with people. And you don't have to be a part of the choir, you don't have to be part of a band. If you want to be a solo artist, you know, and you want to make it big, well, just focus on like what Ashton did on the small gigs, you know. Excuse me, build the momentums of a small gig, and be content in those areas. Being in the music industry is ruthless. It is ruthless. And I'm kind of glad that I'm not part of that industry in a way, you know. But, you know, because I've got my own thing going on, I would encourage people that are starting out or that are looking forward to their, you know, big dreams. Have the dream, but also have other dreams as well. That might not mean you have to be in the limelight all the time, you know. But learn to build it, build whatever it is that you want to become, and network with people. Be open to the various connections with people that may want to give you opportunity. Don't say yes to everything. Learn to say no to some things, and that is about valuing what you do, and valuing who you are, and appreciating what it is that you do. Teach people how to see you, not for them to see you through their eyes, but teach them to see you through your eyes. And that's just learning how to say, well, no, that's really not the direction I want to go in. So no, thanks, but thanks so much for your, you know, for offering that. And that doesn't mean that you've lost an opportunity. It just means that you're valuing what you have, you know. And the next thing, the doors are always going to open and close, and you do have a choice. And none of the doors that you say yes to are, you know, none of them are wrong, unless it's a matter of life and death, you know. It's experience. So yeah, the main thing is learn how to build your own craft, work on your craft. If you're an instrumentalist or a vocalist, practice with people from different genres. Don't just practice with folks in one particular genre, because you'll sound the same and you'll have nothing new. Learn your scales and your modes. Practice your scales and your modes and your arpeggios, you know, and develop your musicality. Learn how to use different sounds, different tones, and learn how to be melodious vocally. Listen to different types of instrumentalists, instrumentals, you know. Listen to what's happening in the music and find a way to get in tune with the music. And then that's how you can begin to build something for yourself, something unique for yourself, to which you can use on stage in the pub, where folks are going to be like, yo, that's fresh. I've not heard something like this before. Do you know what I mean? So always look for something new.
Brilliant.
Can I just say, just a couple of things? I must say, the BVs, you had Gina Foster, you had Sarah Skeet, Layla Lee, and Derek Green. They were absolutely just flawless, phenomenal to work with, to look at, to hear, to listen to. Their energy was, they were together. They were such a team. In rehearsals, they were they were such a team. So brilliant work from them. Derek was, again, really great, a great encourager, very encouraging, and really, you know, he would give you good feedback. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, just give it a bit more of this, or just, you know, less of that. You know, whichever it was. But it was great to have him around. And Chris Cameron, conductor. What can I say about that man? The man who had music coming out of his ears, and producing the whole thing was just phenomenal. You know, done such a superb job. So
and
yeah,
it's nice that you've given them kudos, because I've mentioned them, but it's nice that you mentioned them by name. So thank you for you know, and I'd love to interview Chris and the BBs.
Yeah.
They played such a phenomenal part as the whole, and I'm going to see if I can get hold of Beverley Knight and Tony and Andrew, and
Yes.
you know, because you know, it was the coming together of many parts that made it, and it's good to honor all of it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I can talk to you forever and ever and ever.
I know. If you're in Manchester, if I can just plug this, if you're in Manchester on the 6th of December, I'm doing a performance at Band on the Wall, and on the 16th at Bridgewater Hall with my choir.
Okay, so and go on your page or your website and you know, find out more about that as well. Or
Yes.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Brilliant.
Well, ladies and gents, you know we're going to be in December, okay?
Yes. Super. Thanks so much, Esther.
Thank you, Wayne. And thank you to those who've been listening. Hopefully you've left some comments. I'll check them out when I've finished the interview. Wishing you all a wonderful week. And for the month of November, I've got some really great interviews coming up again. And there's something rather special that I've been asked to do that I'm going to have on my show, but I'm not going to say anything yet. Anyway, Wayne, thank you for your wonderful week, and I will be in touch. Yeah, bless you.
Thanks so much, Esther.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye for now. Bye-bye.